I always believed that when you married someone, you stuck with them through everything. That was what the vows meant, right? In sickness and in health, not as long as you stay healthy and convenient. I was 34 when the diagnosis came, stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma. Manageable, scary, but not a death sentence. I thought the hardest part would be the chemo. I was wrong. The hardest part was waking up the day after I told my wife, to an empty closet and a text message that said, "I didn't sign up for this. I can't do it. Don't try to call me." We had been married for 6 years. No fights big enough to suggest anything like this. We were planning a trip to Europe. She had picked out baby names just a few months earlier. But apparently, none of that mattered when my hair started falling out. She didn't want to watch me weaken. She didn't want to be burdened. Her idea of love had a return policy. And she filed for divorce while I was still hooked up to a chemo drip. The first week after she left, I was too sick to care. The treatment wrecked me. I dropped 20 pounds. I couldn't eat. I had no one to take me to appointments. My mom drove 4 hours to move in with me for a while, and even she said, "I can't believe she left you like this." Neither could anyone else. Our friends were stunned. But her silence said everything. She had blocked me on everything. She moved in with some guy from her yoga studio. I only found out through a mutual friend who said she was glowing and starting over. I didn't respond. I didn't rant on Facebook. I didn't even text her back. I just survived. Quietly. Every chemo session became fuel. Every needle felt like a vow. I would get through this. And when I did, she would regret every second she had spent thinking I was disposable. I didn't plan revenge at first. I wasn't strong enough. But people underestimate what grows in silence. What pain turns into when you have nothing but time. I documented everything she did. The abandonment. The divorce filings. The way she drained half of our joint account before leaving. I kept the receipts, not because I wanted to fight, but because deep down, I knew the day would come when I'd need them. The hospital staff knew me by name. I became friends with the other patients in the oncology ward. There was a guy named Trent who was going through testicular cancer, and he said something that stuck: "People show you who they really are when you're at your worst. Believe them." The day I got the call that I was officially in remission, I cried in my car for 20 minutes. Not because I was free of cancer, but because I had beaten something that tried to kill me, alone. No help from the woman who had promised to be by my side. No texts. No apologies. Just silence. That silence turned into clarity. She had left me when I had nothing. That meant she wasn't allowed to come back when I had something again. And that something was about to be more than just my health. Because the universe has a funny way of turning tables, remission wasn't just freedom, it was fuel. I changed everything. Cut my hair. Cleaned out the house. Sold the furniture she picked out and donated the ridiculous yoga cushions she left behind. I joined a local gym once I had the strength. Started training again. Slowly at first, walking, then jogging, then weights. I didn't recognize the man in the mirror after a few months, and that was a good thing. He was stronger. Harder. Sharper. And he remembered everything. My job had been incredibly supportive during treatment, allowing me to work remotely and part-time. When I came back full-time, I learned that the new project lead, the same guy my wife had left me for, had applied for a consulting role in our firm. And the universe handed me my first real chance. I didn't say anything about the connection. I just played it straight. Friendly. Professional. I reviewed his resume, looked through his references, and nodded politely during the Zoom interview while he bragged about leading high-energy wellness initiatives. He didn't recognize me. He never even knew she had been married when they got together. I didn't reject his application directly. That would have been too easy. I forwarded it to HR with a few quiet red flags, undocumented projects, vague achievements, and a little breadcrumb trail of inconsistencies he probably didn't think anyone would check. I didn't lie. I just didn't protect him from the truth. His offer was pulled before he could even start. A week later, I heard he lost his gig at the studio too, something about inappropriate conduct with a client. I didn't need to do anything. I just watched the mess implode from a distance. Meanwhile, I started seeing someone. Not serious at first. Just casual dates. She was kind, no nonsense, and had a scar on her shoulder from a surgery she talked about openly. We understood each other. Real pain has a way of filtering out fake people. I didn't talk much about my ex, but when I did, she said, "That kind of person doesn't leave when things are hard." They were always planning to leave, they just needed an excuse. I didn't want to believe it at the time, but she was right. And then, just as I started settling into my new routine, I got a message request on Instagram. It was her. My ex. The woman who once promised forever and dipped out faster than my blood cell count had dropped during chemo. The message just said, "Hey. I heard you're doing better. That makes me happy." I didn't answer. She followed up with another message 2 days later, "Would love to catch up sometime. Maybe clear the air." I stared at that message for a while. Part of me wanted to say something scathing, something final. But silence had always been more powerful. I didn't block her. I let her words hang there in the void, just like she left me. And apparently, the silence burned, because a week later, she sent a long apology. Said she panicked. Said she didn't know how to deal with the fear. Said the guy she ran off with had turned out to be toxic and manipulative, and she had made a huge mistake. She even said she had kept photos of us. That she thought about the life we'd planned. That was the moment I realized she wasn't sorry she left. She was sorry I survived without her. She thought I'd be broken forever. A ghost she could visit when her new life fell apart. But I wasn't broken. I was rebuilt. Better. Stronger. And now she wanted to crawl back because I was valuable again. The same way you try to return to a house you once burned down, only to find it rebuilt by someone else, with better walls and stronger locks. After her apology message, she started following my account. She liked every photo from the last 6 months, workout updates, group pictures, even a post about my Remission Bell classic social media breadcrumbing. I didn't follow her back. I didn't say a word. But I knew she was watching, and that was enough. The new woman I was seeing, her name was Jordan, knew about all of it. She laughed when she saw the sudden spike in my follower count. "Let her watch," she said. Let her see what she lost. But watching wasn't enough for her. A few weeks later, I saw her in person. She showed up at a mutual friend's birthday party. She wasn't invited, just happened to be nearby and thought she'd stop in. I was polite. She tried to hug me. I offered a handshake. She looked deflated but played it off like she didn't expect anything. Throughout the night, she kept drifting over. Asking how I'd been. Dropping comments like, "You look so different now," and, "I always knew you were strong." I didn't argue. I didn't correct her. Let her rewrite the story in her head if it helped her sleep. The truth didn't need defending. Everyone else at the party knew what happened. I'd never said a bad word about her publicly. I didn't have to. Her actions had spoken loud enough. But that night lit a spark in me I hadn't expected. I realized I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was thriving. My ex wanted to latch onto that because she had nothing left. The guy she'd left me for. Gone. Her job. She had to take something in another city, part-time, lower pay. She was staying with her sister temporarily. The picture-perfect life she'd imagined had collapsed faster than my immune system on chemo, and now she wanted back in like nothing happened. She started emailing me after that night. Long, drawn-out confessions. Emotional admissions. She claimed she was in therapy. That she wanted closure. That she thought we might still have a future, someday. I never responded directly. But one email struck a chord. She wrote, "I missed the way you made me feel safe. I thought you'd fall apart without me, but instead you became someone even better. I don't know how to live with that." That line stuck with me. Not because it hurt, but because it confirmed everything. She didn't love me. She loved being needed. And when I no longer needed her, she had no purpose. I'd been her emotional crutch, and once I became the one who needed support, she ran. Now that I was back on my feet, she wanted to lean again. So I crafted a message. Not a bitter one. Not cruel. Just honest. I told her I appreciated her checking in. That I hoped she found peace. That I had no anger left, just distance. And that I was seeing someone who actually stayed when things got hard. Someone who didn't run when life turned ugly. Then I wished her the best and ended it with, "Take care." She never responded. She unfollowed me 2 days later. I imagine it was the final blow she couldn't handle, the realization that I had truly moved on. That I didn't just survive without her, I built a life where she no longer belonged. Jordan and I kept building from there. Slowly, without pressure. She respected boundaries, asked questions without prying, and made me laugh when I needed it most. She saw me bald, pale, weak, and never flinched. She didn't need a perfect man. She wanted a real one. And I gave her that. People think revenge is about getting even. But the real revenge is becoming untouchable to the ones who once broke you. My ex lost the best version of me, not because I became cruel, but because I became unavailable. She had left me at my lowest, and I rose without her. That truth. It stings deeper than any insult ever could. A year passed. 1 whole year since that diagnosis. 12 months since I sat alone in a cold exam room, hearing words that shattered everything. I marked the anniversary not with grief but with gratitude. I threw a small get-together with the friends who stood by me. My mom flew in. Jordan brought cupcakes. There was music, laughter, hugs that actually meant something. No fake apologies. No toxic energy. Just people who stayed. That night, I got one last message from my ex. No email. No DMs. Just a simple card left in my mailbox. Handwritten. No return address. It said, "I'll never forgive myself for what I did. I hope one day you'll find it in your heart to forget me completely." I read it once and threw it away. Not out of cruelty. Out of closure. Because she didn't belong in my story anymore. That chapter was over. I didn't need her to pay. She already had. Not in money or drama, but in watching me build the life she never had the courage to fight for. The version of me she abandoned became the version everyone else respected. That was justice. That was peace. Jordan and I moved in together later that fall. We didn't rush anything. She let me heal in my own time. And when I told her I loved her, really loved her, she didn't flinch or ask me to prove it. She just held my hand and said, "I know." No drama. No declarations. Just presence. And in that moment, I realized something I wish someone had told me when I was at rock bottom. Sometimes the worst thing someone can do to you is the best thing that could ever happen. Because if she hadn't left me, I might never have learned how strong I really was. I might never have fought so hard to get better. I might never have discovered the people who truly mattered, or the woman who showed up without needing a reason. I would have spent my life with someone who only loved the easy parts of me, and missed out on the one who could love me through everything. So no, I didn't get revenge in the movie's Andromeda kind of way. I didn't ruin her life, didn't expose her, didn't scream in her face or demand closure. I just healed. Quietly. Fully. And I built something better without her. And maybe that's the best revenge of all. Because the man she left behind, he doesn't exist anymore. But the one who rose in his place, he's never going back. Thumbs up enjoyed the story. Speech Balloon, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more real-life drama, revenge, and crazy comebacks. Hit the bell so you never miss a new one. We post stories just like this every day.